arms, ladies and gents. We're just having a good time rocking out, doing what we do. Is that weird? Got your attention, didn't it? We didn't know what we were doing. I thought I knew it until the very end. I really did that so Dylan could unleash his inner Keith Moon. You know what I'm saying? Guitar sounds good. How's everybody doing out there? It's Friday. It's the Friday of Memorial Day, and we're in the Orange Room. We're actually taking Monday off, so it's a 3-day weekend for us. We're going to party. Dylan, are we going to party? So hard. We got some bratwurst for the weekend. We got some brats. Just so you know, in the Milwaukee area, we take our bratwurst very seriously. And my favorite iteration, although Bunzel's is excellent, and they are friends of ours, and I enjoy all of their handiworks, the state champion brat, I think it's the world champion, is Carl's Country Market. Beautiful Germantown, Wisconsin, or is it Menominee Falls? It's one of the two. We went out there today, and we loaded up on Germanic meat products. So we are ready to feast. Can you dig it? Get that party started. All right, we're see all the comments coming in. Rock on, Dylan and Greg. Yes, thank you. We shall indeed. We're messing around with a little funky thing. I had this riff for years, but kind of coming together with a little something. Hi, Bill. Can you dig it? Hooray for Hollywood. Oh, a new chat. Oh, doggone. Did we stop? I hope we didn't stop. That would be so wrong if it did. Let's get some questions here. We got, hey, Greg, do you have a guitar tech or roadie that work, or do you work on your own guitars? I do not have a roadie that goes out with me, but I do have a couple different dudes that I use in the area to tweak my stuff, or the guys at Wildwood sometimes will tweak my stuff. I don't work on my own guitars, but if I have to, I will do a little minor neck adjustment or whatever the case may be. Jay Knudsen, did I say that right? I think you're wondering what strings. These are 12. This is the light set on here. It's a Diodario light set, acoustic, so 12 to whatever. String gauge and pick type, please, Rob Morris. Well, I just said these string gauges, so it's 12 through whatever a 12 set is. And then I'm using these, these are Jim Dunlap Prime Tone 3, 1.4 millimeter. Love my classic Fluence pickups on my Les Paul. Right on, Mike. They sound delicious. In Tallahassee. Well, all right. Greg, those curtains are a disgrace. It's not curtains, it's a doggone tapestry. How are you running the audio? Well, my buddy Ryan from Fishman, who's doing a magnificent job for us, we have everything, the drums are close mic'd. I got a mic in front of the Fishman Loudbox amp that I'm playing through right now. There's also a mic in front of the Koch amplifier, which I'll be playing electric through in a moment. It's all going through Logic on the computer, and then it's going into OBS, and then out through to the internet through Restream. So Restream is, but really the mix going into OBS is what's doing it, I believe, in the mighty resourceful hands and ears of Ryan Fitzsimmons from beautiful Fishman. Can you dig it? I happen to like the tapestry, says Robert. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. What's my hat? I've had these hats forever and ever. You can get your gristle beanies at gregkoch.com. That's where they all have it. Just got a new The Greg amp from Wildwood. It's killer. Thank you, Wes. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I certainly dig it. Carlos Gregory, he says, greetings to you. How many do I have of these hats? I have a lot. Dylan does want to play. Dylan, what do you want to play? You want to just start a groove and I'll have at it? All right, that's what we do sometimes. Sometimes you just does a groove and then I start playing. Let's do that. You're hearing this. All you're hearing, I'm going straight into this Loudbox Performer amp from Fishman. There's a mic in front of it, and there's a Matrix Infinity pickup on board here with a volume and a tone control. That's all I got going on here, folks. Sounds damn good, I think. Did it. That's kind of cool, right? Ladies and gentlemen and boys and girls. All right, what questions we got out there? And I don't want to say movie land because my wife gets very upset when I say that. For some reason, it's a trigger. If I say, what's going on out there in movie land? Woo. Woo! What is that acoustic model, Edgar asks? Well, Edgar, it is a reimagined, it's a Martin reimagined 00028 that I had a Fishman Matrix Infinity VT pickup installed at the factory, which is the undersaddle pickup. Sounds magnifico. And I'm going straight into the Fishman Loudbox Performer. Got the EQ pretty well, everything at 12 o'clock. Lows, mids, highs. The gains at 12 o'clock. And actually the master volume is just like it's like at 1 o'clock. And I just like to control everything from the inside. There's a volume and then there's a tone. But the tone is really, on one side the tone is all the way flat. On the other side it's scooped, so the highs are higher and the lows are lower. So I usually start over to that side and then do a skosh to the left to get kind of... I like it. Sounds good. Vocals on a future KMT record. Well, we'll see about that. We'll probably have a couple of vocal tunes on there. Timothy asks, oops, I thought it was an OM. Well, it's the same body size. The OM 28 and the 00028 have the same body size. It's just that this is a shorter scale. Triple O's are a shorter scale. Spider Logan says, to my ears, the Fishman sound better than the Expression System. Your ears are not deceiving you, my friend. Although to each their own. Dylan's drumming is tight, says Pete. Does Dylan play guitar? No, he does not. He does not play guitar. He just never had an desire. Every now and again he'll grab one and make some racket. Isla plays a little guitar. She's out there jumping rope right now. All right, let's do a little something. Let's do that. Do an old blues tune of mine. Ragtime. Actually, I did come up with a kind of a ragtimey song. Let's see if I can do it. Like that. Doom dap boo dap but that again. Something like that. I'm gonna call that one Ragtime Wanker. Maybe not. Actually, a while ago on one of the Wildwood things on I think it was on Instagram. They posted a thing of me playing. They said, some young guy, not this ragtime wanker again. And we all got a good kick out of that. I wasn't playing ragtime. He thought the Merle Travis stuff was ragtime. It's not. But hey, what are you going to do? To each their bone, right? How are we doing on time? Oh, it's the 29th. Maybe I should switch to electric. Any questions out there while I got the acoustic strap on? When are you coming to the Chicago area again? Well, we had gigs booked. We had one gig booked for a tour that we were going to do. We would have been down there a couple of weeks ago. And I think they rescheduled it for another time. That got canceled because of the COVID. Because of the COVID. Wow, did you hear that? Because of the COVID. What? But we'll be back soon. Can the matrix be installed on any acoustic that doesn't have any electronics? Yes, as long as it's got a bridge, I think that you can get under. Scotty Anderson, magnificent. Okay, what do we got? All aboard the COVID caravan. Can you dig it? That just kind of happened. That was kind of fun. That was kind of fun. All right, I'm going to switch to electric guitar now. Prime Tone Jazz 3 grip pickup 1.4 millimeter ass spider. You are correct. Right on the money. Right on the money. Oh. cheap stinking basement with that jaded, faded junk in us. Oh, what pleasant company. Well, we all need someone we can bleed on. And if you want it, baby, why you can bleed on it. Well, we all need someone we can bleed on. And if you want it, baby, well, you can bleed on me. Take my arms, take my legs. Oh, mama, won't you take my head? Where you can bleed all over me. Can you dig it? That's the power of that rock and roll music we've heard about. We've heard about the power of rock and the majesty of roll. Rock and roll ain't noise pollution. Glad you asked for a model to be a little bigger. Telly's look a little tiny on some bigger. You are correct. This is my new signature model from Reverend Guitars. It comes stock with my Fishman Fluence gristle tone pickups. And the body is slightly larger on all sides, about 2 or 3% larger, somewhere in there, to be more proportionate to the larger individual. And by God, it's just a little bit, it's not so big that people who are conventionally sized will grab it and go, oh my God, it's too big for me. No. It's just something that us bigger fellas play, and especially with the binding, it gives the impression that it's just a little bit larger. But this little middle section is raised here, and the rest is kind of recessed. So the middle section that's raised, that's actually the conventional width of a T-style guitar. So the rest of it's kind of recessed a little bit. So that also helps with weight relief and all that kind of stuff. Can you dig it? That sounds good. I do have a little compressor on today. I got to be honest. I've got my jam pedal board out, and on it they've got their dinosaur compressor, and I just put it on a little bit. Here's without it. Sounds good, am I right? Just like that, ladies and gentlemen. That's a song called Unrepentant from the Unrepentant record of my own creation, ladies and gentlemen. Of my own creation. Manuel Rodriguez says, greetings from Mexico. Greetings to you, my friend. Do any Canadian dealers carry the Reverend Grisselmaster? I'd like to try one out. Steve, I think they do. I think the best thing to do would be to go to the Reverend Guitars website and see what dealers carry them up there in beautiful Canada. In beautiful Canada. Ooh. A song called Beautiful Canada. I liked it. What are the questions that we have out there in Movie Land? What questions do we have? What overdrive pedal am I playing through? Actually, right now I'm just using the amp, my signature Koch amplifier, the Greg. The overdrive on it is glorious. Can you dig it? What age did I start playing? I started when I was 12. Started when I was 12, ladies and gentlemen. Can you dig it? Summer of my 12th year, I believe. Am I right? Yeah. What height was I when I started playing? I was pretty tall, actually. There was a question out there. Greg, can you give us some examples of how a band communicates with each other? Well, you just got to be listening to each other at all times. There's always that listening thing that goes on. And sometimes it's just instincts. Like with Dylan and I, there's a weird, sometimes we just do things at the same time, which are a little weird. Which is a little but other than that, it's usually most of the arrangements that we do with our ensemble, there's like meeting points, and then the rest is very open-ended. So anything can happen. And that's where you always got to be on guard, because you never know. Sometimes they'll just start something in a weird way, and then we're like, oh, I guess we're doing that now. So it just, people just kind of fall. You listen to what's happening, and you go from there. Can you dig it? I always scream heads up. Nice one, Spide. I dig it. I dig it. I thought you had mentioned that the Greg amp available in head-only version, but I can't seem to find it. Kevin, Koch amplifiers, especially with this COVID business, there's been distribution, shall we say, delays, but the head is available. I have one, and I use it, and it's magnificent. There are also some different colored Greg amps that are coming out. There's a cool red one, and a black one, and a red one. Did I say red one? Red one, black one. There was one other one, too. Is there a green one? I thought it was a green one, like an army green. I can't remember. But there's some cool other colors, and I haven't seen those yet either. But you have an extensive chord vocabulary. How did you develop this? I see you, Corey, with your naughty talk. You know what? I did just over the years. The first book I ever got, my guitar teacher when I was like in 8th and 9th grade was a gentleman by the name of Bob Monagle, a great guitar player in town here, and also was a videographer. He did the video for our Vivid Gristle record, and he also did when I did the Hal Leonard Blues DVD and Leonard Skinner DVD. Bob Monagle actually produced those as well in terms of video and so on and so forth. Anyways, Bob was my guitar teacher back then. I was in, as I said, 8th and 9th grade. And he recommended to me a book called Warren Noon's Jazz Guitar, The Blues. And I still tell people about that book. I still have 2 copies of it, actually. And it's just a really cool book. It starts off with just kind of a basic blues and starts adding in cooler chords as you go along. And so by the end, they've added a bunch of cool substitutions and turnarounds and whatnot. And a lot of what I do is in that book, not all of it, but certainly I learned a lot of cool stuff from that book. I've used some of my own chord stuff in books. I did a book called Rhythm Riffs. We were just I did a clinic last night online, and we did out of the Hal Leonard Blues Guitar book, which I wrote. There's some cool stuff, especially at the end. There are some jam tracks that I have different chords that you can play over and some licks and whatnot. Ted Green is another one, absolutely. Name of the book again, asked Spider. It is called Warren Noon's. Warren has passed away, but it's Warren, and his last name is Nunes. And it's Jazz Guitar, The Blues. It's a blues book. It's a blue book, I should say. All right. Having larger hands doesn't hurt to get some of those stretches to get away with. Yes, you are correct. Although it's surprising, a lot of stellar guitar players are smaller dudes. It's crazy, but you do what you got to do. Do you prefer Tele or Strats? I like T-style guitars, although I played Strats for years and I still do, and I'm actually having fun playing them again. But when I go on gig, I bring this guitar. Right? It's about that time. It's question time. Dylan's done. Let's say thank you to Dylan back there, rocking out for us. This is about the time of the broadcast. I open it up to some questions, guitar questions, gear questions, questions in general, questions in not general. Yeah, I can hear that snare go crackly crack crack. Crackly crack crack. Ooh, the B string decided to take a little ride. The B string took a ride. Tell us about your sense of humor. Well, that just happens, ladies and gentlemen. I was the youngest of 7 kids, so that explains a lot. What? Any chance of you'll be working with Malford again? Kevin, every now and again, I do some gigs with Malford. Malford's got a new thing he's doing with these guys from Holland. It sounds great. He seems to be really doing well. I think he's in the Netherlands as we speak. I'm glad to see he's doing well. He's a great dude. He's had some health problems, but now he seems to be doing quite well. So you never know. We cross paths. We might do some stuff once again. You never do know. What do you do about the sustain on clean so it sounds so good? You know, that's a good question, Nicola. I don't know. You know, one thing I like to do, the clean channel on these Koch amps is real squishy. I like that. I have the gain on the clean channel up about 12 o'clock. And then I have the volume for that channel on about 1 o'clock. So the channel doesn't get that gainy. It's because it's a clean channel. So, but it does add a little bit of nice compression. I don't have the compressor on right now. I was messing with the compressor earlier. So that's just the amp. Now I can press this button in on my Fluence pickups and add a second voice that's got a little bit more beef, and that'll even push that sound a little bit more. Greg, please please show us how you do that pick disappearing move when switching from pick to fingers. I put them between the pick between my 2 fingers there, and I go back and forth depending on what I'm doing. So I'll kind of be like, oh, fingers, oh, pick and fingers, back to just want to do something. So I go back in between. How do you keep from not sounding the same all the time? Seems like you always have something different to play. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I mess around with it quite a bit. I just kind of keep the moment. I mean, there are some runs that naturally kind of happen. I just try to keep in the moment and keep with the conversation that's going on at the time. So if I'm doing like a, play all over that. I might start with a solo with. You get the idea. So it just kind of just flows. You never know what's going to happen. It just kind of flows. Nicholas says, I tried your signature amp, the Greg. It's terrific. Thank you very much. I love it immensely. That's what I'm using right now as we speak. As we speak. The Minneapolis Library has my stuff. Excellent, Clinton. I like that kind of talk. I do have various books. I took out a few last night for that clinic I did. There's the Hal Leonard Blues Guitar Method that I wrote. It's got tracks that go with it. And starts you off about advanced beginner. And by the time you're done, you should be ready to go to a blues jam and engage in spirited musical savagery. This is the most recent book I did, Brave New Blues Guitar. I basically did all these cool little breakdowns of people's styles that I like to mess around with, and I did it like an imaginary jam between people. So did everything from Albert Collins, Albert King, B.B. King, Billy Gibbons, Cornell Dupree, Derek Trucks, Dwayne Allman, Earl Hooker, Eric Clapton, Freddie King, Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page, Jimi Hendrix, Johnny Winter, Roy Buchanan, and Stevie Ray Vaughan. And then I do these little mashups. So I got B.B. King playing with Billy Gibbons. I got Albert Collins playing with Albert King. I got Jeff Beck playing with Jimi Hendrix. I got Jimmy Page playing with Johnny Winter. Roy Buchanan and Stevie Ray Vaughan. It's pretty wild. There's about 3 hours worth of video material that comes with this rascal. Brave New Blues, it's called. And again, all this stuff is available through wherever books are sold, but you can certainly get them from my website, and we'll get them out to you lickety-split at gregkoch.com. And then there is this is a cool book. This is the Guitar Clues Operation Pentatonic, where I take a pentatonic scale and I do everything you possibly can to it. I demonstrate my chicken picking in there. I demonstrate my there's rhythm tracks that go behind it, and the rhythm tracks are also transcribed. So some of my blues comping is in here. Some of my stuff I do with there's a cool 2-bar pattern that I do Travis picking wise that I reutilize. So chicken picking's in here. Different stuff I do with vibrato and pinch harmonics and intervals, all that kind of stuff. And then, of course, here's the one that came out 2 years ago, and that is the standard tuning slide guitar, where I go into the whole kit and caboodle of how to play standard tuning, slide and standard tuning, and sound good, hopefully. And there's a bunch of video material that comes with this book as well. And of course, this book is the most disturbing picture of all. How they got me to do this, well, I'll do anything for a price. I'm just kidding. The guy was a buddy of mine. He thought it'd be funny if this could be called Guitar Gumbo. We'd put you in a chef's outfit. And I said, that sounds like a good idea. And I did it. So anyway, it's a combination of all my different articles I did for a year for this guitar magazine. So it's got like blues sweeping in here. There's a bunch of tunes that I was doing at the time, writing at the time, from the Greg Koch trio record called From the Attic. There's a tune called Picked On. There's Chicken from Hell is in here. All kinds of different stuff. So that's kind of a fun book. And then, of course, this book came out in like 2004, I think. And it has a bunch of transcriptions of different versions of my songs from this point. The Chiefs Blues, Death of a Bassman, Dylan the Villain, The Grip, Holy Grail, Spank It, Tonus Diabolicus, and Zoinks. So anyways, these are just a spattering of the books. Got about, 17 of these rascals now? So just to give you an idea. It's important to give you an idea, because sometimes people are like, do you have an instructional stuff that we could use? I'm like, oh my God, yes. And I had to hemorrhage my brain several times. I had to squeeze my brain in a vice in order to finish these books and get them done. So sometimes I point them out and say, hey, can you dig it? We need a hardcover version gathering your best material. Well, that would be nice, wouldn't it? We shall see. There's also a book of my transcriptions that's going to be called The Best of Greg Koch. And that's coming out this next year, or hopefully before the end of the year. Yes, I also do Skype lessons. You are correct, Patrick McManus. Bless your heart. Hi from Australia, long-time listener, first-time caller. Greetings, Glenn. It's been a while since I've been in Australia. I came there every year for a good 10 years. I would do these Fender road shows, or we'd go from Usually, I think we did. I don't know. We always did Sydney, and Melbourne, and Adelaide, Canberra, Brisbane, and then Perth, and then we'd go home. So I did that every year for, as I said, 10 years. But it's been a good 3 or 4 years now. Why does that book go for $200 on Amazon? That's so weird. I mean, Warren Nunes died, so I don't know if who's handling his affairs or whatever, but maybe that because the book is out of print. But it's a good book. I don't know if it's $200 good, but it's good. Do you own any T-style guitars with stock pickups at this point? Yes, I do. Although I've swapped out most of my guitars with my pickups because I love my pickups so much, or else I wouldn't have done them. So, but I have a 53 Tele which has the original pickups in it, and I have an old custom shop Telecaster with a B-Bender Tele which I have the original pickups in as well. Hi from Ireland, longtime fan, loving this video. Thank you, Jim O'Neill. Are you familiar with the Warren Nunes book, The Jazz Guitar Bible? I'm familiar with it, but I've never had it. I used to see it back in the day, and I used to think, boy, I bet that rascal is great because the blues book is so damn good. Can you dig it? The copyright is 1974. Still have mine with the floppy disk. Same here, right? With the floppy little insert, you could play it along with the tracks. That one tune thing. Something like that. I can't remember it, but that's one of the tunes that's right on there. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but anyway. What is your way of looking at the neck, connecting all the dots, if you will? Boy, that's hard. It's a matter of, modal stuff. Sometimes it's a matter of if I'm messing with a new scale, sometimes I'll mess with different things. And I'll think of taking notes out. Sometimes I'll do a thing where I'll do like a 2 and 3. Andy Wood was doing this. Or, so you're going 1, 2, I'm G here. 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, and then just. It's kind of fun. So I will think kind of those things every now and again, but when I'm playing in the moment, that might happen by accident. But I try not to intentionally do things because usually that's when you reach a little stumbling point when you're playing. Like, well, I tried that, but usually you just let it flow, and what happens happens. Can you mine a line? That's it. I remember that one. Yeah. When did you start educating your children? How old? What things first? You mean musically? Dylan was kind of on his own. He just kind of listened to different things. I did take him for drum lessons early on because he just gravitated to drums very early. He'd grab like wooden spoons and start playing along with stuff. And he instinctively knew where 2 and 4 was right from the get-go. And I'd have friends over and we'd put on a record and he'd just go in the room and he'd pretend like he was playing drums and he would like instinctively know where the stops were. And it was really weird. People used to look at him and go, "What's with the kid?" I'm like, "I don't know. It's a little weird." And so he just kind of did. I set him up with lessons here and there. He did private lessons a bit, but really he learned a lot when he went to the Wisconsin Conservatory as part of their jazz institute over there. As part of the Batterman Ensemble, which was their kind of top-notch high school jazz unit that they culled from people all over the Milwaukee area. And that was a damn good group. They went to New York a couple times and did that Charles Mingus competition thing or whatever. But that was very good because he got private lessons, he got combo lessons, and that just gave him a good foundation in music stuff. My other son, John, who's in high school now, is doing that thing as well. He's involved with those jazz programs. He plays saxophone, though. Except for slide, do you ever play in alternate tunings, Dad, etc.? Yes, I do. On the Acoustic Gristle Soup record, which came out last year, I have a tune called Dadgaddery, which is in Dadgad. I also used Open G quite a bit. There's a C tuning on there that I use, which is the same C tuning that Jimmy Page used on Bronny Hour. Bronny Hour, however he says it. What do you think about Rob Pattinson refusing to train for the Batman? Well, I think it's lame. I'm just going to go out on a limb there. If you're going to be the man of the bat, you better start pumping some irons, or else you're going to look like a fool. Am I right or am I right? Do you have any opinion on the cage system? I really don't, to be honest with you. Quarantine with the beast. I'll take your soul and I shall feast. No mask can protect you from the rancid scent. Your guardian angel just went off and left. Am I right? Got up and went. Yes. I like it. I forgot about that song, Andrew. Thanks for the reminder. Quarantine with the beast. I'll take your soul and I shall feast. Oh, that's bold. Can you dig it? Well, folks, we are at 5:14 on the Friday of Memorial Day weekend. I'm going to shut her down here. I wish you all a pleasant Memorial Day weekend, safe and happy and fun. Have some fun for doggone sake. And we will see you back here, not on Monday because we're going to take Monday off because it is Memorial Day. We'll be back here for the Fishman Takeover on next Friday. But I will be doing Wildwood Live on Tuesday as well as Thursday. So we'll see you cats soon. Thanks so much. Thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it. And we try to keep the fantastic lyrics. Thank you. We try to keep it fresh. We try to do a lot of improv stuff, so it's fresh every time. Sometimes we'll visit some of the songs again, but we always do them different. So we appreciate you guys staying with us here during quarantine, and thank you, Fishman, for the support and glorious gear that I enjoy using immensely. So take it easy, y'all. We'll see you soon. Quarantine.